Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Let's just kind of jump into it. I got a bunch of stuff to show. I'll probably split this one up into a couple videos. I showed the first one from this series of releases maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So they've released 3 of Dawkin's later albums to vinyl for the first time. They were pretty limited. They were Europe-only releases. I was able to find somebody that did have them here in the U.S., but I didn't save a whole lot by getting them that way. I probably saved about $10 total, which still it's $10. So this one's a Hell to Pay album. This is the last of the ones that they released. Are they all the same number? Oh, they are. I just noticed that. So they're all hand numbered. I didn't notice until right now that all of mine are the same number. I guess that's kind of cool. Anyway, Hell to Pay. I wasn't a big fan of this one. So on the album before this, which I'm about to show, which is now my love, they brought in the guitarist from Warlock and from Doro's guitarist. And he was fantastic. What hurts this one is the vocals. The music is really good, and the guitar is really stand out on this one. There's no harmonizing though. It's just Don by himself, and Don sounds good. Don't get me wrong, but Dawkins always had really good harmonizing, and it's just not there, and it really stands out. And I think that's really what takes away from this one. Now, the one before this, a lot of people don't like. It's not a real heavy album. The first time I listened to it, about halfway through, I just wasn't feeling it, and then it hit me, and I love it now. There's slower songs. There's still a couple of heavy ones, but they were just kind of going for something a little different here, and it sounds really good. Now, this is the same lineup as the next album. However, in this one, there was quite a bit of harmonizing, so I don't know why they decided not to do it with that next album, but it really does hurt that album in my opinion. Next up, I'll show another one from these guys in a little bit, but Gojira, L'Enfant Sauvage, really the last of their super heavy albums. The next one was Magma, which I still love. It wasn't as heavy. This one you still have quite a bit of the death metal in there. They are obviously still moving towards the progressive sound. Magma is really where I think they hit kind of the really good middle ground between metal and progressive, and it's a really a perfect album. I love Magma. I like this one a little bit more just because of its heaviness. And then, like I said in one of my recent videos, the most recent album, Fortitude, is still really good. It's just moving more towards the progressive. Kind of think of the same arc, really, that Opeth has kind of taken. However, Opeth's most recent album, I think, is straight progressive with one heavier song. The rest of it's progressive. I think there's only one progressive metal album or song on that most recent album. That's definitely not the case with any of the Gojira albums. Next up, I've been showing the Crowbars. E1 has slowly every 3 weeks or so, they've been releasing another from the Crowbar discography. Unfortunately, I missed Equilibrium, and they're selling for like $90 a piece. That was before I was really watching E1. And I really hope they do Live Plus One, because that's really the one album that's never been released on vinyl. I think the next one is going to be... Actually, we'll just wait and see. But this is Sever the Wicked Hand. This is a fantastic album. This is one I didn't give a whole lot of love when it first came out. I do have it on CD. After spinning it a couple times, it's just a really killer album. Now, I also just got this one in, and I've spun it a few times too. Unfortunately, it was damaged, so I'm going to ask for a replacement. But this is the self-titled album. Another just fantastic album. I love this. This is probably my second favorite behind Oddfellows Rest. I don't know if you can see it here. The side got crunched, and it's actually... let's see if it'll get in. Yeah, it's not going to focus, but it's actually torn right there. So I'm gonna try to get that one replaced, at least the cover replaced. Next up, KK's Priest. Really solid album. Do I love it? No, I do really like it though. I think with a few more spins, I'll like it even more. It definitely. I mean, it sounds like a Priest album, but it's not near as good as the most recent Priest album. I'd say it's more in the vein of the two albums before that, which KK had a lot, was heavily involved in the writing for those two albums. Whereas with the new album, it wasn't. He wasn't. But regardless, Sermon of Sinners. I got the one that signed with the what do they call those? It's not an insert. I can't think of what they're called off the top of my head. But you've got Ripper Owens on vocals, who I love Ripper. He's fantastic. I've liked pretty much everything that Ripper's released over the years. Really good, though. Really digging it. Gonna give it a few more spins for sure. This next one is a mind blower. I love, from the moment I got this CD, last year, this became one of my most played albums by far of the last 15 or 16 months. I played this in my car nonstop before I got the new car that doesn't have a CD player in it. But this is a must-have. It's real limited. From No Life Till Metal Records, Maleficent from Madrost. Just really killer technical thrash. Kind of borderline death thrash. If you're into death thrash, technical thrash, you're going to love this album. This is fantastic. I love all four of the Madrost albums, but man, this one is just really a step above. And really, really recommend grabbing that one while you can. I think they only pressed 100. I may be wrong on that. It may be 200, but it's not very many. I'm glad to finally have this in my collection. I love this album. I like all three of the Demons and Wizard albums, but this is the best by far. It sounds fantastic. Man, they just killed it. It's really kind of the perfect blend between the I can't think of the name of the band. Between the Iced Earth and the Blind Guardian sound. It's just fantastic. I highly recommend this. My only disappointment with this is the CD. Do I still have it here? No, I put it away. So the CD has a fold out. It's got a pop up of the front cover. So when you open it up, the death head pops up out of it. And I was really excited to see that on the LP as well. And it's just a regular gatefold, which is, it's still a nice gatefold. It's just disappointing because I really do dig that cover. Fantastic album though. What's it called? Okay, yeah, it's just self-titled. I thought it had a name too. Anyway, next up, another fantastic album. Really glad. I believe this is their most recent album from a couple years ago. Another real limited pressing though. Yeah, 2019 by Night of the Vinyl Dead. Night of the Vinyl Dead always does a great job. There's still two Malia Rage albums I don't have on vinyl, but this is Idle Hands. I'm really happy to finally have this one in the collection. More traditional metal, more straight up heavy metal than the thrash that they were earlier on. Still a fantastic album though, and I've played this quite a bit. Night of the Vinyl Dead. Next up, man, this album. I was in the store and I was just kind of in a doom metal mood, and when I was flipping through, they had two of the Candlemass albums. I take that back. I have one live Candlemass on vinyl. That's all I have on vinyl. All the rest of my Candlemass is CD. So I had to grab this. This is the third album with Messiah. Messiah's vocals on this are phenomenal. These may be my favorite Candlemass vocals, and one of my favorite Candlemass songs is on here. I can't remember which one it is though. I almost bought an original pressing of this because they had an original pressing for just like $10 more. The reason I got this one though is because the recent Peaceville repress has the Black Sabbath medley on here, which is fantastic. So I went ahead and went with this one. But Ancient Dreams, must have if you're into Black Sabbath, traditional metal, doom metal, whatever. And then when I bought that, I also had to, of course, get the debut Epicus Doomicus Metallicus. I've always loved that name, that cover. It's just a must-have. You've got John on vocals here, who I believe it's the craziest band. They've had, I believe, 3 vocalists. And, John will be there for a little while. The Messiah was there for a couple. Then they had the other vocalist. Was it Lowe as the vocalist? And then Messiah came back. And then now John's back in the band. Just a crazy history, but just one of the great bands. Next up, this is a new one. I've mentioned them a couple of times. So I was at one of my local stores and I got the Crumbsuckers album. And I love crossover thrash. And the guy at the front desk was like, "Hey, you got to check out this band, Dead Heat." He saw them with Power Trip a couple times and said they were fantastic. And a lot of people are saying these are the guys that are going to kind of fill that Power Trip void now that the lead singer from Power Trip has died. Sadly, it doesn't get much better. Power Trip's just amazing. Anyway, so I checked them out. So this is an EP. This is their debut EP. I picked this up for like $15. The A side is a band called Dead Heat. Also a crossover thrash band, more on the punk side though. And I'm sorry, Mind Force. Dead Heat's the band I was talking about. Mind Force is the A side, more on the punk side of crossover, and then Dead Heat more on the thrash side. Fantastic EP though. And then their first album is sold out. I couldn't find it anywhere for under like $60. So this is their most recent album from last year, I believe. Fantastic album, World at War. Their last cover, the original cover for this, pissed a lot of people off because it was there were Nazi checkpoints. And it said, and this is before the vaccination mandates came out, but there were like Nazi-style checkpoints. It said, and it was basically vaccination checkpoints where they were forcing people to get vaccinated. So, in the tradition of thrash and punk, just calling out the government for for the direction they saw them going. Really good though. Highly recommend checking these guys out. A little bit of a mix. They're from LA. And they've got a little bit of the LA hardcore sound, but also some of that New York hardcore sound. On some of the songs, you definitely hear a little Suicidal Tendencies love, but then it also gets into the more like the Crumbsuckers or I'm trying to think of one of the other New York crossover bands that I really like, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Definitely worth checking out though. Next up, I was really happy to get this one in. Really super aggressive thrash. I like their last couple albums too. Their first couple, the last couple, and then kind of in the middle, they went this really weird, not new metal, but like a metalcore route, which I don't get. Anyway, this is the debut from Living Sacrifice. Finally got a vinyl pressing. It sounds fantastic. Unfortunately, mine came with a seam split, which just kind of it cracks me, or it upsets me. I mean, these things new were like $45, and it was shipped. And I actually bought this with another record that was like $35-$40, so like $90 in the order. And it was the flimsiest record mailer that I've ever gotten, and both of the records had huge seam splits. And when I called the vendor, they were sold out. So they were basically like, you can send it back for a refund if you want. That was my only option. So, just that stuff pisses me off. Oh, next up, we'll knock out a couple more. Gruesome, the Gruesome EP, Dimensions of Horror. Just a fantastic old school thrash band. I love the I guess you would call it the neo-traditional bands playing that old school thrash or that old school death metal sound. Just Gruesome is fantastic. They haven't had a bad release. I recommend everything that they've done. Next up, actually, this one kind of disappointed me. I've been picking up the anniversary editions of the Judas Priest albums, so I got Defenders of the Faith. I've been getting all of them. This is the first one where the remix and remaster just doesn't sound good to me. I like the original much better, and it just wasn't. The sound as a whole, they just didn't do a great job on it. So this is the first one of the Judas Priests that has disappointed. Next up, this was a cool one. I was really excited to get a hold of this. I got it for like $10, maybe $15. They had a few left at the store, and they were trying to clear out the inventory. And unfortunately, it was damaged in shipping. Another huge seam split. With this one, though, I contacted them. It was from the meet and greets in 2013. Anybody that came to the Black Label Society meet and greets got a free album, and they had some leftovers. So, just a few of their classic songs there. Doomsday Jesus is a phenomenal song. Anyway, they ended up giving me a refund. I wish I would have been able to get a nice copy, but these things go for $40-$50, and so I mean, I really can't complain. I got it for free, but it still sucks. Actually, I'll do these two real quick. Just filling out the Megadeth collection, United Abominations. Nothing huge to talk about there. I saw them on that tour, though. They were fantastic. This was a cool find. This is the Motley Crue Primal Scream. I talked about it in a recent album, how much I liked Primal Scream. I was excited the direction they were going, because I heard Primal Scream and thought their next album would be heavier. And then, unfortunately, Vince Neil left the band. But you've got Primal Scream, Red Hot Live, Dancing on Glass, and then Dr. Feelgood Live. Really killer UK only, UK version of the single, and it comes with a back patch. I'm not going to pull it out. It's one of the worst back patches I've ever seen. It just says Motley Crue and then Decade of Decadence. No picture, nothing cool about it, but kind of an interesting little piece there. So last but not least, I was super excited to finally get this on vinyl. So Run Out Groove announced that they were going to be doing Demanufacture. They've just announced that they're going to be doing the Fear Factory debut. So I had never heard of Fear Factory in 1995. And then I went to see Megadeth. And it was one of the best shows I've been to. So the opening band was Fear Factory. I had never heard them. I was absolutely blown away. It was right after Demanufacture came out. So most of what they were playing was from this. They played one or two songs from the first album. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But this is what kind of got them out there. This is what they were playing up. They did their set, followed by Korn, then Flotsam and Jetsam, and then Megadeth. This was 1995. It was at Compton Terrace, one of my favorite places to go to concerts, which is no longer there in Arizona. And just an amazing show. All the bands, Korn, it was their very first major tour. They were for their debut album. I can't remember, was it Quattro maybe that Flotsam and Jetsam was touring, and then Megadeth was touring for Euthanasia, which was, I just love that whole era of Megadeth. Fantastic. Anyway, so they finally announced they were going to release this. I get to the whole history of that because the last disc, so the first two discs are the album. The third LP is a live album. And I was disappointed when I heard they were going to do a live album. I really thought they should do Remanufacture as the third album. If you're not familiar with Remanufacture, it's a remix album that came out after this that was fantastic. I would love to get that on vinyl as well. Then I got this I've had it for a couple months. I finally got around to listening to it about a week ago, though. And I noticed Live at Ozzfest 1996. So if you're familiar with Ozzfest did not start out as this tour traveling the entire country. The very first Ozzfest was October 25th. So we are coming up on, was that the 20, oh man, 25-year anniversary was 2 days ago. Anyway, yeah, man, I can't believe this was 25 years ago. Anyway, so the very first Ozzfest was in Phoenix on October 25th, 1996, or yeah, 96, right? 1996. And then the next day was in California. That was it. And it was so successful that they decided to do the tour. So the next year it turned into a big tour. They had a bunch of dates. Anyway, I was lucky enough to go to the very first Ozzfest. I didn't have that kind of money back then. I was 19, maybe 96. Yeah, I was. So this was right before my 20th birthday. I would have turned 20 a couple months. Actually, October 25th, exactly 2 months after this, I turned 20. Anyway, I did not remember Fear Factory playing at that first Ozzfest. I had to go back and double check. And this is before I listened to it, all right? I was like, man, I don't remember them being there. So I went and double checked, and sure enough, it was, I believe they played right before Sepultura. But it was them, Sepultura, Danzig, Slayer, Ozzy. I don't remember who else. It was a fantastic show. But again, I was there, so I saw them. I saw all the bands. I just didn't remember Fear Factory. And I had seen them twice at this already. So I saw them in 95. I saw them another time opening for another band. I don't remember who it was. And then I saw them at this Ozzfest. So then I put on the album. And not only is it from the Ozzfest 1996, it was from the one I was at. So it's actually the show from Phoenix, which is very cool. And actually, once I heard the songs, some of the banter brought up some memories of them playing at that show. Anyway, so very cool that at first I was disappointed that it had a live disc, and it turns out it's not just a live disc, it's a live album from a show that I actually attended. So very cool. So that's it, guys. I hope everybody's good. Take care. I will see you soon. Subscribe. Bye.